how should Christian view entertainment?
Man, that's part of our everyday lives because we do everything in this world, from watching movies to sports, like you said, go to the movies and listening to music. And there's a lot of things that we do in the world. But I think that the verses kind of like give us a warning because when you look at the verses, it says, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in them." Now you would say, okay, then I should be out of the world if it's like that. So now, I mean, I think now the question we should ask ourselves is like, uh, whatever we do, like there are many other passages, but I think we should think about, okay, can we live in a way that whatever we do, like the Apostle Paul says, whether we eat or drink, let us do it for the glory of God. How can we put those things into practice in our daily living? So I think with having a holy fear of God, or holy respect for God, I think whatever we're doing, I think we should be cautious, avoid the profanes, and try to like stick to the things that are more like clean and most likely giving God the glory as a creator of all things.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know a lot of people use that verse out of context, and I can understand why sometimes it is used out of context, because if you read it verbatim, it literally saying you should not love the world or anything in the world. Because as you can see, I'm wearing my Miami Dolphin jersey, and Dolphin is a football team that I grew up. Now I was gonna say I grew up loving, so I don't even know if I could say that word, but I admire Miami Dolphin, and I love watching football sports. But like you said, I don't think this verse is primarily saying Christians should not participate in anything that has to do with the world. If that was the case, then that means we would have to live in another world, because everything that we own or have, we're not probably not created by Christians. Like our phones, our basically our devices, the clothes that we wear, and so forth are not made by Christians. So when it comes to entertainment, I think, like you said, watching a movie, I don't think it's wrong for Christians to go to the movies and watch a movie. Now, the question is, what kind of movies are you watching? Are you watching a movie that blasphemes the name of God? Or are you watching a movie that's family oriented, a movie that doesn't curse God, or that doesn't, you know, cause you to be tempted or to sin against
Yeah,
God? So
I was
that's
gonna add that. I was gonna add that too, because even if the movie doesn't profane the name of God, but the movie can be very sensual and there's a lot of curse words, and you see there's no benefit in watching that movie because garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you feed your mind, that's what's gonna come out. So I think the best thing to do is to, like you said, before you go watch a movie, you have to like kind of like get some information about the. Sometimes if you know the actors or actresses, you can have a sense of where the movie is going toward. And same for sports. I mean, I think sports is a little bit different because there's no cursing. It's just more like people entertain uh, uh, us by competing against each other. So I think there can be like a little room for us to enjoy compared to like movies that are like sometimes sensual. And you know the world, I think the problem is by not giving the creator the proper respect and glory, because sometimes as human beings we're trying to get the credit, but we don't we if God didn't create the world, any of those things that we are enjoying wouldn't be possible. So that's why it comes to like give God the glory above everything. And like you said, there's a lot of Christians that play soccer, they play football, basketball, they play sports. So I don't think they are in themselves bad or evil. But I think one thing I can say is that if you're gonna skip church to go watch a sport or watch a game, I think there's a problem. If you can't live without watching something, that's when it's a problem. That's why it says the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. It's more like toward the self. We're trying to please the self, and we kind of like lose sense of what matters most. I think there is the problem.
Yeah, and I have, and we like to keep it real and raw on this podcast, and I have to admit, we're not perfect. And I remember there was times in my old days that I used to skip church just to watch a sport. Like if my favorite teams are playing, I would skip church, and I'll watch it online, and I would just watch the game live. Or
Man,
even,
we all done it, man.
I know. So, and even like social media, I don't know if we can call it a form of entertainment as well. There has been times where literally like my passion for sports and for like my local team that I support, I would literally have to do some sort of fast. And I know sometimes people don't call this as fast, but I would literally have to like bend myself from watching that sport for a period of time, or maybe a month or a few weeks, just to control my flesh, to not let my flesh turn this passion into an idol. Because to be honest with you, sometimes I can say my love for sports, my love for Miami Heat, Miami Dolphin, and sometimes it goes to the extreme. I would literally have to like punish myself, saying, you know what, I'm not gonna watch the game for like this team for like a month until I can control that passion. And then if I can't control it, then I have to stop watching it. If that passion rise to the level where I admire my team more than God, or I might not say it with words, but I say it through action, then I have to stop. And there has been occasions where I had to do that. And I think that's very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to kind of like keep yourself under control, and that's also one of the fruit of the spirit, self control. But I think the problem sometimes lies on is the fact that sometimes we can spend hours watching TV, like movies or sports, but when it comes to reading the Bible,
Yeah.
within 10 minutes we're like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I can't read anymore. I
Yeah.
think that's a bit of a problem because we should treasure every word of God. We should be able to, like the psalmist says, hungry and thirsty for righteousness. And sometimes when we watch those things, they're not even there's no benefit to be honest with you most of the time. Because when you watch a soccer game or a basketball game, okay, you get entertained for a few hours, and then what else? Whereas spending time in God's presence, where you can be entertained 24/7 because God sustains us by the breath of His power. That's what we are living and breathing today. So I think sometimes we have to also kind of like think about those things and make those hard decisions. To I'm not saying that we should not watch entertainment because I love watching movies, I love watching sports, but I get to the point where I don't put them before God because sometimes sometimes I feel like I don't want to do anything but just leave the TV open and just turn the TV on and then keep watching things because I don't want to do anything meaningful that day or some days. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but we have to, like you said, use self control on the things that we are doing to help us as Christians.
Yeah. And to to conclude, I would say my final word is that as Christians, we have to understand that we are the ambassador of God's kingdom. Everything that we do, our mission is to do it to glorify God. Whether through sports, through entertainment, whatever we want to call it, we have to make sure everything that we watch or we do, that God's get the glory. If it comes to a movie that has a lot of curse word, that's vulgar, and the scene is causing you is tempting you or leading you into temptation, causing you to sin, I think that's a movie we should try to avoid. I'm guilty of it. I love watching movies, and there are times I know certain movies I should not be watching as Christians, but I still watch those movies, and that's the beauty of grace. We learn from it and we grow from it. But we cannot keep making excuses that, okay, because of grace I can watch that movie even though that movie is causing you to sin. We should basically try to um, present the gospel in a way where through our actions, sometimes we don't even need to use our words, but through our actions, people can know that we are about business when it comes to the kingdom of God. We are here to glorify God and to let people know who God is so that they can find Christ. What about you, Winter? What's your final word?
I mean, for me, I would say just like the verses. I think we should not let those things be an idol. We can watch sports, appreciate the beauty of the sports, but just leave it at that. We can watch a movie, and we know in those movies they always send a message. As Christian, we have to be mindful of what message is being given, or um, is being given in that movies, and we have to find a way to take the good and reject the bad. So at the end of the day, as Christians, we have to know that we are here for a purpose, for a reason, and that is to glorify God. And through our actions, let people see Christ in us, so they can glorify God in heaven and believe in God. So I don't think we should be like the verse. We should not be while we're in the world. We should not be with the culture. We have to try and like find a way to separate ourselves from the system so we can be more ambassadors for Christ. So the main thing I want to say is that let not these things be idle to us. Just leave them where they are as entertainment, and then just enjoy them and just leave it at that. But give God the glory in everything that we do, and hopefully we can help each other achieve that goal.